As the debate over immigration rages across the country, a new movie is exploring a case that changed America's asylum laws. St. Judy tells the story of immigration attorney Judy Wood, who represented an Afghan woman seeking asylum in the United States after being arrested by the Taliban. Her crime? Opening a school for girls. In one scene, Wood shows up to speak with a man facing his own immigration struggle. Take a look.
Mr. Mustafa. Mr. Mustafa. They can't bring Mustafa.
No English. We are closed.
You have a doctorate in clinical psychology from Cambridge.
Oxford.
You petitioned for a variance on the work visa quota for mental health professionals from Africa. Ray Hernandez had started the process and then asked for more money, which you can't get without a work permit. It's a hell of a catch-22.
That is a good case summary, but I don't deal with scumbag lawyers anymore.
Here's your work visa.
Sean Hanish is the director of the film, and Judy Wood, its subject, is here. They're both here with us on the set at CBS News. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
This is so exciting. The film looks incredible.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Judy. Tell us about the case that was featured in the movie and why it was so important to the work that you were doing.
Okay. A woman comes from Afghanistan. In Afghanistan, women are not allowed to have a voice in the public arena. Not only did she have a voice, she was a teacher, she had a political opinion, but she was so brave as to teach young girls how to read. That is not acceptable in many countries in the world. And for this, she was horribly punished. She was punished by being sexually abused, being raped, and in fact threatened with domestic violence from her own father. And therefore, it became a very important case because it hit on many issues that women all over the world face. If a woman steps out of the social norm in her community, she can be subjected to all kinds of horrible abuse, including but not limited to rape. But when a woman is raped, a whole panoply of consequences come into play. She's branded for life. It affects her children, if she has any, because they're no longer valuable. She doesn't have any value. She's subjected to further abuse, and the whole community knows. In these places, everybody knows. Therefore, it's very important that these women be protected, be shielded from further harm if once they come here and are asked to, and they ask for asylum. They are asking for refuge and safety.
So, okay, so Sean, what was your, I mean, this was such a fascinating case when Judy was a part of it. What drew you to her story?
Well, it's impossible to not be inspired by the person and the human being that is Judy Wood. Her heart, her dogged determination to, make sure that people are heard, that, her protection of immigrant rights, human rights, refugee rights. So just, you start from that, and then you talk about the biggest case she's ever done that affected asylum law, and it kind of becomes a no-brainer as a movie because it's so inspirational, but all that inspiration starts with Judy.
You guys had a connection, right? There was a connection between the two of you before you decided to take this project on.
It's true. I went to film school with a gentleman named Dimitri Portnoy, who 10 years later went to law school and became Judy Wood's intern.
Oh, no way.
While he was her intern, Judy calls him a spy, while he was an intern, he heard this case and then years later pitched the movie to me. And frankly, from that pitch 3.5 years ago to what you see on screen now, it has that heart. It has that same beautiful, an individual can change the world, feeling.
Absolutely. Judy, we saw some pictures of the woman that you were talking about in Afghanistan. Where is she now? What is she doing?
Well, she's totally blossomed. She has an independent life. She's very happy.
Oh, that's great. And you can't share a lot of details about her because...
There is something called attorney-client privilege.
Yes, exactly right. So we want to make sure we get that out. Given the discussion around immigration that we are having in this country, that we've been having for quite some time, but now with the president's wanting to build a wall, the child separation policy that was put in place by the Department of Justice, Jeff Sessions, and ultimately the president. Judy, how do you see what is happening in this country now?
I'm glad you asked that question because it actually gets worse. There's been a new memorandum where it's necessary for asylum seekers who are trying to cross over to the United States from Mexico to remain in Mexico, for as long as it takes for the judge to hear their case. And so these people don't really have any place to stay in Tijuana. They have to hang out in the area where they can eventually register. Then they get a number. Then they have to wait for that number to be called. Could be raining, they have nowhere to sleep, maybe they have children with them, they have no way to feed the children, they have to wait there. And then they get heard by an immigration court, perhaps, and perhaps not, because first they have to pass what's called a credible fear interview.
So the point that I'm getting at is you're busier than ever.
Well,
now.
it's much more difficult.
Right.
Yes, I'm very busy, but
Yeah.
it's also much more difficult, and it wasn't ever easy.
Yeah. What do you want people to get out of seeing this film, Sean?
Well, I really want people to know that one individual can make a difference. Two individuals fighting together can change the law, But I mean, really, it's about empowerment. Judy and Asifa never gave up, and they actually, the law and the U.S. law had it bent to their worldview, and so but we can do it every day. Keep the fight going, fight through the struggles and the obstacles, and I think that's really what this movie's about, and I hope it inspires people.
Yeah, and you've got an incredible cast. We were showing some of the cast members there: Alfred Woodward, Michelle Monaghan, Alfred Molina. Yeah, I mean, looks great.
Well, thank you. It went from a story that I think we all wanted to tell to a story we needed to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
St. Judy hits theaters across the country tomorrow.